The lead singer of the legendary Australian band the Masters Apprentices, Jim Keays, is revered in rock and roll circles as the creator of influential and enduring Australian songs. 40 years on, Jim Keays is back in vogue and on tour.
And he has a new critically acclaimed solo album harking back to his halcyon days. It's not bad for a bloke who's been battling cancer for years. Tracy Hutchison reports.
We were probably at our peak around then, I reckon.
15 years today, and you remember how.
Screaming girls and getting our clothes ripped off and all that sort of stuff.
Turn up your radio.
It was just immediately post-Beatles, and every kid was into music. They'd go to their local dances, and everybody was just excited by music then.
They were the pin-up boys of Australia's Summer of Love, irreverent and wild, and Australia couldn't get enough of them.
It's not just, us and the Hoodoo Gurus. I mean, you ask any music critic around the world that, name the great bands from various countries, the Masters would be up there with anything ever released from Australia, the Easy Beats and so forth. Those songs have incredible cachet in the hip circles around the world.
We got the name as being the bad boys, I suppose because we sort of looked a bit rougher. We had longer hair and we wore black leather outfits and nobody else did. We wanted to look good as well as sound good, and it sort of worked in the most part.
As frontman for the legendary Masters Apprentices, Jim Keays vocalised the soundtrack of a country coming of age. While England had the Stones and the US had the Doors, Australia had the Masters, with a string of hits that defined a generation.
Do what you wanna do, be what you wanna be, yeah.
People come up to me now and say, that just changed my life at the time, because I realised then that I could do what I wanted to do and I could be what I wanted to be. That's a great thing to think that you've in some way changed things. It's lived on, that song.
Do what you wanna do.
The Hoodoo Guru's Dave Faulkner, one of many to dip his musical lid to their legacy.
Turn up your radio.
The Guru's 1995 recording of the Masters hit marked the band's 30th anniversary and brought them back together.
We had a ball. It was a bit of a tall order for us trying to step into those shoes. They're pretty big ones to fill, and that original recording is still flawless to me. So we weren't trying to beat it or anything, but we just hoped that we could at least pass muster as being, worthy of playing the song, and, obviously having him to help us do that made it a lot easier.
They embraced the whole project with a lot of enthusiasm, and it came out to be a great version of the song.
40 rollercoaster years of rock and roll have delivered Jim Keays his share of accolades, gold records, place in the ARIA Hall of Fame, even an Australia Post stamp. But amid the rock star's spoils and a newfound passion for watercolours has been the none too small discovery of the Big C, a 2007 diagnosis of multiple myeloma.
Having cancer is a damned inconvenience. The prognosis is pretty good. I've got one of those cancers that they can shut down. It's not the one where you get diagnosed and you're dead 3 weeks later. I had my initial treatment and they said, look, you could go 5 or more years and not have a problem. And I'm 5 years now, and I'm still pretty good. I know it's probably serious, and other people probably see it as more serious than I do, but I just think, I'm fine, I'll be good, I'm okay.
Now in his 65th year and 5 years living with cancer, Jim Keays is showing no signs of slowing down. A brand new record and a brand new band with an all too familiar sound.
It's fantastic to have young guys playing with you. It just gives you a new energy, and because they're so young and full of energy, it transfers to you,
4 decades after the Masters made their mark, Jim Keays is back where it began, talking up a noisy new record and riding a new wave of popularity.
In the 80s and 90s, If I walked into a record company, I'd get laughed out the door. You know, I was a has-been. You've had it, mate. Go away and die, mate, you know. But there is a bit of excitement around about it. So I'm happy. I'm going to go for the ride this time and see where it takes me, you know.
How would you just define or describe what the Jim Keays philosophy has been?
Probably do what you want to do and be what you want to be. I think that's probably it, and I didn't even realise it at the time.